Hello and welcome. This is Christina Hills from the Website Creation Workshop, and welcome to this webinar called The Simple Truth to Succeeding Online. And what this call is it is the big picture overview of building an online business. So who am I? My name is Christina Hills. I am your WordPress coach and teacher. And for over, I think we're going on 9 years, I've taught more than 2,000 coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, and business owners how to quickly and easily create a website with WordPress. And I've taught people from all over the globe. But before I was teaching WordPress with my online business, I was in the Hollywood special effects industry. And I was a visual effects artist. The most famous film I worked on was Star Wars. I also worked on E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the re-release, Jurassic Park, Mars Attacks, and more. That was for when I lived in San Francisco, working for George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic. But I quit my job so that I could have the entrepreneur lifestyle and so that I could be home to raise my daughter, Maggie. And the other thing that I like about being an entrepreneur is it gives me time to work on creative projects. And we just finished doing the 48-hour film project, which I will probably upload to my fan page sometime today if anybody wants to see that film. I'm not in that film. I was played the producer, but this is a screenshot or a still from a video spoof my daughter and I did a few years ago. But let's talk about you. So this is you, the Fisher-Price version of you. And if you know what Fisher-Price is, or if you have children, you'll be chuckling right now. But anyway, this is you, and you are smart. And you want a big picture of building an online business. The problem is, an online business is very ephemeral. You can't touch it and hold it. It's just a computer up there in the cloud in the sky. So my goal today is to kind of give you the big picture of all of these pieces. So in the center of your internet world is your website. And then around it you have these different areas. So one is social media, one is in-person networking, one is email marketing, one is selling online, one is driving people to come to your site, and the other one is phone calls, consulting calls. So notice in this diagram, and I'm going to be showing this again throughout the call today, here we have arrows going into your site, right? So from social media, it leads them to your website. From networking, leads it to your website. From email marketing, sending emails, driving people to your website. Then once somebody gets to your website, you want them to take an action. So maybe you want them to buy something, or maybe you want them to come into your store or a yoga studio or office where you do private consulting. Or you maybe want them to pick up the phone and call you. So these are the actions out from your website that people would take. So I want to take this little poll right now. Do you currently have an online business? Do you have an online business now? So let's launch that. Yes, I have one. No, I don't, or I'm in the process of building one. So this helps me know where you're at. And you can just click on the screen. And if you're on an iPad, you can just type in the chat box. All right, I think I'll close the poll. Looks like almost done. So let's close the poll and let's share the results. So a third of you do, a third of you don't, and almost 40% of you are in the process of building an online business. That's awesome. So you are in the right place. So let's come back to you. So there you are, and you're still smart. And you know, I say this because there's a lot of people who didn't grow up with computers, and they've got college degrees, masters, PhDs, whatever kind of degrees, have been out in the world working. And, you know, I know the internet's been around for a while, but it can stump people on how to put this together. So that is what I like to do, is teach people like you how all these pieces work. So coming back to you and coming back to your website. So what is your website? So let's just define that. All right, so what is your website? Your website is your home on the internet, and your home has an address. So that is your domain name. And your domain name is connected together. So here's hosting, and here's your domain name. So you buy a domain name first, and then you get web hosting. And your domain name connects with your web hosting. And so, for example, websitecreationworkshop.com is my domain name, and when you go there, you'll see my website. And I've got a different picture up here right now, but that's what it looks like. And here is another one of my sites, my domain name, ChristinaHills.com, and then here's a screenshot of what that looks like. Now, I'm just curious because I know people are in different stages of building their online business, and I don't have a slide for this. So just type in the chat box, have you purchased a domain name? It's okay if you haven't done anything with it yet, but I just want to know, do you own at least one domain name? And it's okay if it's no. So we got a lot of yeses and we've got some nos. Yeah. I want to make a recommendation, if you can. If yourname.com is available, I would go buy it. Right now, don't do it now. It can wait the hour until this call is done. But if you can buy yourname.com, I would go ahead and buy it. Just good to have. And some people say, well, why do I need that? And I'm like, you know, the answer is, do you want somebody else owning your name? So write that down. That you can do that later on. Let me keep going with this presentation. All right, so your website is viewed in a browser. And browsers let you connect your computer to the internet. So you've got your computer, that's this physical thing that's in front of you that you're looking at, and the browser, you look through a browser to see a website. Now right now we are in GoToWebinar, so you're not in a browser, you're looking at the GoToWebinar system, which is the window through, so you can see my desktop. But when it comes to websites, people view your site in multiple browsers, and these are the little icons of the different browsers that are available. So here's a screenshot of my site in Chrome, and as I go through this, you'll see they look pretty much the same. Here it is in Firefox, looking the same. Here it is in Safari. Now, sometimes there's a big difference when you look. In this example, there isn't a big difference. And here is my site in Internet Explorer, and it's more of a full screen shot. So I want to know, what browser do you mainly use? And I think, do I have a poll for this? What browser do you mainly use? Mainly use. So you might have all of these, but you probably mainly use one. Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, or something else. And those are the most popular ones. And while I'm just waiting for people to almost finish, I think I'll close the poll now. Most of you have voted. and share the results. Now this is interesting. It used to be Firefox was more used than Chrome, but now people are using Chrome more. Now for me, Firefox is my main one that I use, but I might start switching to Chrome since most other people are. So let me hide these results. So you want to, and I've got another informal poll where you can just type in, do you have more than one browser on your computer? And you just type in the chat box. If you have, do you have more than one? And yes, Linda, if you are on a Mac, it's probably Safari that you're using. Most Mac people use Safari. All right, so most people have a second browser. It's a good idea to have a second browser. If you don't have one, just think about that might be something you might want to get and install. And Internet Explorer is now called Edge. I don't know why Windows changed the name, but you know, that's Microsoft for you. All right, let me keep going. Where am I? All right, so as you know, or if this is the first time being on a call with me, I specialize in teaching people how to build websites in WordPress. So when you build a website, you want to create it in WordPress. But what is WordPress? So what WordPress is the software, and it is free. And it has these different components to it. So the first is your files. That's all your content, your words that go on your website. Then there is the design, the theme design. And that is separate from your content. Then there are your plugins. These are fun little things you add to your site, or they're functionality things you add to your site, kind of like apps on your smartphone that make your site do extra things you want it to do. And then there is your media, your PDFs, your pictures, your video, your audio. These are things that you add into your website. So the question is, how do you get your stuff into WordPress? How do you get it all in? Well, you do that by uploading and downloading. And this might seem kind of basic, but I keep teaching it because when I talk to people, they're often using the wrong words. And here's the thing. If you ever talk to tech people, and you're using the wrong word, they don't always translate, oh, they're saying this, but they really mean something else. Like tech people will say what you tell them literally. So I want to make sure you got the terminology correct. Downloading is when there's something up on the internet and you're bringing it down to your computer. So maybe you're downloading a PDF that someone's going to give you. Right? That's called downloading. It's coming down to your computer. Uploading is when you are sending up to the cloud in the sky. That's the little internet in the sky, or I should say the big internet in the sky. So if you've taken pictures on your camera or your smartphone, you are then uploading them. So the way you build a website is a process of downloading things, working on them, and uploading them. Downloading and uploading. That is how you build a site. So how do you get into a site? This is you log in on the internet. That's how you get into your WordPress site. And you edit your web pages online. So you're in the cloud, you're editing your pages, you click update, and then you view your page on the internet. So when you are working online in WordPress, you're working directly in the cloud in the sky. All right, so I'm going to take a little poll, and this poll is, do you already have a website? Let me bring the poll up. Do you have a website already? And you can just, yes, and it's in WordPress. Yes, but it's not in WordPress. Yes, but I'm not sure what it is, or no, I don't have a site yet. So, and it's okay if you have one, but it's not done. So I just want to get an idea of where people are at who are here on the call today. And I will close the polls and share the results. So 61% have a WordPress site, 9 have one, but it's not WordPress, 3% are not sure, and 27% don't have a site yet. And that is okay. And again, today's call is a very big picture beginner overview webinar. I'll be doing more that'll go a little bit deeper, but today's going to be a big picture webinar. All right. I'm ready to keep going. Let's talk more about building your online infrastructure. So let's come back to this picture. And this is kind of a picture that I like to keep referring to because it helps me keep clear in my mind what it is I'm focusing on. Now, one of the big things when it comes to building an online business is these two areas. One is building an email list, email marketing, and the other one is selling online. And I'm going to go more into these two in a few moments. So let's first talk about building an email list. And looking at this picture, you see your website has the arrow to the email list, and then the email list or email marketing has the arrow back to your website. So what do I mean by that? Meaning people come to your site and they opt in and they get on your email list. Now they're on your email list. Maybe they're not visiting your site, but they see a email from you and they come back to your site. So here's an example of building an email list. If you're listening to me here today, you probably saw this opt-in page to come to this live webinar and to save your seat. So that was the opt-in page I created for this call. And here's a little diagram, and I'm going to walk you through this diagram. Now let me just pause and ask, am I going too fast or too slow or just right? If you could just type in the chat. I want to get an idea if I'm going too fast or too slow. A couple people say I'm going slow. Some people say just right. All right, so I will keep going. When someone comes to your website, this is the big picture of how the opt-in process works. They see something they want to opt in for, and they enter their name and email. And when they enter their name and email, they immediately get to an opt-in thank you page. At the same time, their information goes into it's either your email marketing database or your shopping cart account database. Your system that you're using to email market looks up what email messages should the person get, and they either get one or a series of email messages back to the person. So this is the process of email marketing. When somebody is opting in for a free download, goodie, etc. So here's an example of an opt-in page where they would enter their name and email. Here's another example of an opt-in page that has a video on it. Enter your name and email to get the video. This is on my blog, and I have the opt-in on the right-hand sidebar. So when someone opts in, they get the PDF and video, and they get on my email list, and they immediately get to a thank you page, the downloadable thank you page where they can download the PDF and watch a video. So you can see here there's a downloadable. So when someone opts in, they get to a thank you page, and in this instance the thank you page gives them the goodie that they just opted in for, and I'm going to talk more about that. So here's the webinar opt-in page, and then here is the webinar thank you page. And on my thank you page you probably saw something like this. There's a video to show how to get on GoToWebinar, and then links to add to your calendars. All right, so what is your opt-in goodie? So think about this. And maybe you don't have one yet, and that's okay, but I want you to think about what your opt-in goodie might be. So it might be a video, it might be a mind map or some process map, it might be an audio MP3, it might be a checklist or a PDF or some kind of resources or maybe some kind of tool you're giving people. So that is kind of a big picture overview of the opt-in email marketing process. So let's talk about selling your products or services from your website. So we're back over here and we're at this section. Now notice there's just the arrow goes this way, right? So they come to your site and then they go off to the shopping cart. But let's talk about this diagram. How a product is sold online. Somebody comes to your website and they find a product or a program that they want to buy. They click the Buy Now, and often they go to a shopping cart order form. And this could be a third-party system or could be something embedded into your website. They enter their credit card information and they get to a post-purchase thank you page. Now I have the word thank you page in quotes because it really describes what it is that it describes the action the person has taken. So there's a thank you page for opting in and there's a thank you page for purchasing. Basically, thank you for your order. And there's lots of different things you can have on the thank you page. So back to my diagram. Once they get to this thank you page, their information goes either to their merchant account, your merchant account, right? Their information goes into your bank account or PayPal account, depending if you've integrated PayPal and how they've paid. At the same time, their information goes into the shopping cart account database. So it's just collecting their name, email, address, etc. And then it looks up, the system looks up, what did the person just buy? And it sends them an email receipt and any follow-up autoresponders. So people who've joined me in my programs, when they purchase, they'll get an email receipt and a follow-up, welcome to the program, and give them more information. Now, the process of buying, when you get to the page to buy, that is often called a sales letter page. That's the term. It's an old term. I don't know who invented it, but it goes back many years to direct marketing, where the people would send a sales letter in the mail and have people fill a form out and buy stuff. So here's an example of a sales letter page, and here's an example of the bottom. So you would scroll down to the bottom, and then you would pick the payment plan or the payment method you want. Now, not everybody has a payment plan. I have payment plans, but that is the bottom part where they click to purchase or enroll, however you want to call it. Once they click, they get to an online order form. So I'm showing you my sales process. Here's the online order form where you would enter your credit card info, and this is on a secure server. So this is a secure place that the person has gone to. And once they've entered their credit card info, they would get to a thank you page. And my thank you page is the members area of my course. So when someone signs up for one of my trainings, the place they get to after they purchase is the membership area. So what products do you want to create? And I want you to think about the format of your products. So what products do you want to create? So do you want your product in a video form, a PDF form, MP3, checklist, digital downloads, community forums, live webinars, teleseminars, resources, mind maps, software tools? So this is all the format that what you're going to sell comes in, and most of this is digital. And I need to add to that events, live events, or books, physical products. So if you could just type in the chat, I'm curious if you have a product or program, and I'm not talking about consulting, I'm talking about products, or if it's something you want to make, which format is most attractive to you for creating? Not for you for consuming. Which format do you want to put yours in? And if you don't know, it's quite all right. You can just type in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to take a poll which is similar. Ebooks, PDF, webinars, books. No, this is something you would sell. Something you would sell. Don't know enough is okay. Don't know is perfectly right. Cookbooks, videos, PDFs, software tools. So this is what would you like to create to sell. All right, now I have a similar one, which is how do you like to learn? So do I have that? Oh, I don't have that poll. How do you like to learn? Okay, well, you can just type in the chat. So I hope you're following my logic here. One is you, the business owner, how would you like to deliver? Now I'm asking you, you as the consumer, how do you like to learn? And I thought I had a poll for this, Joanna, but it looks like I don't. So just make a note so we'll know for next time. So do you like to learn on webinars? Do you like to learn on videos? Do you like to learn on PDFs? How do you like to learn? You could just type in the chat. And I will, I think my computer got webinars, videos, PDF videos, live workshops, webinars. I guess it's a little bit of a skewed poll because you're here on the webinar. That's pretty funny. All right, let me keep going. So we're talking now about selling directly online. So I'm not talking about selling over the phone where you're on the phone with them. I'm talking about selling online. And here are the things that you need. And I'll leave this slide up here if you want to write this down. But these are the different components that you're going to need if you want to sell online. So you need a website. We've talked about that. You need some kind of product or program, right? So what is it that you're going to sell? And I'm not talking about a book. If you're an author and you've got books for sale on Amazon, Amazon handles all of that. I'm talking about selling yourself from your site. So you need a website, you need a product or a program, you need some kind of shopping cart system, and the shopping cart system would integrate with your payment processor. So they're really two different things. Sometimes they're sort of bundled in as one. So like PayPal will appear to be one, but you really think of them as two different things. You need some kind of email system. You need a fulfillment house. So what's a fulfillment house? That is a company that if you're selling CD series or CD sets or physical workbooks, they ship them out to your customers. And when we got started, we were our own fulfillment, and we would pack things up and take them to the post office. And then that's for physical products. And if you are selling digital products, you need some kind of digital delivery, membership site, PDF, some kind of digital delivery. So just keep these things in mind when you're thinking of building an online business. And some systems are easier, some are a little bit more complex, but essentially this is the big picture. So now, in order to sell online, you need to get people to visit your site, meaning you need traffic. And I hate that word traffic, because traffic is really just people, but that's what they call it, web traffic. Right? So how do you get web traffic? Well, these are 3 different ways to get website traffic, and that's social media, in-person networking. You know, when you go to a meetup or a chamber of commerce or some networking group and you're giving out your business cards, that is a way to get traffic to your site, or sending out email blasts. But let me just focus for a moment here on social media. Right? So here's the different social media sites, and these are the big ones. There's lots of other little ones, but you can be active on social media and interact with people and mention your website and send people there on Google+, on LinkedIn, even if it's just where your bio area, like for example, Instagram. You can't send links out in Instagram, but you can have a bio where people can find out more about you. So social media is a free way to get folks to come to your site. And some of these may be more effective for you than others. So my question is, and I don't think I have a poll for this. Oh no, yes I do. I have a poll for this. How active are you on social media? Multiple times a day, about once a day, about once a week, hardly ever, or not at all? And so you can just click on the screen. How active are you on social media? Now, I don't want you to think that you have to be super active. I know social media can be a time suck, but it is a good way to get folks to come to your site. So looks like most people have voted, so I think I'll close the poll and share the results. So about once a day for the majority, multiple times a day, 26%, once a week, 23%, 11% is hardly ever, 3% is not at all. So that is okay. Just gives me an idea. I like social media because it gives me another channel to interact with people versus email. So an online business allows you to make money while you're playing. This is one of the things I love about having an online business. My family loves to go to Disneyland, and while I'm at Disneyland, my system can be working for me. It gives me more time for my family. I love that I can control my own schedule. I'm able to donate my time and money to nonprofits. And this is a screenshot of my daughter in this little theater group she did. And spend more time on other creative projects. And this is a little web writing hood video spoof that we did. And there's my daughter and husband as Little Web Riding Hood. My daughter and I on the, Alice in WordPress Land spoof we did. And there she is as the Queen and the Mad Hatter. And there is my daughter and I a still from Little Web Riding Hood. Now I wanted to let you know that our next event will be in a couple of weeks. I'll be doing a webinar for the website creation workshop to promote my fall training, my fall WordPress training. So there is the link there, and that will take you to register. It's in 2 weeks from today. It's in 2 weeks. It's either Thursday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day it is, but it's in 2 weeks. And in that call, I'm going to go deeper into WordPress. Today's call was the big picture. The next one will be deeper into WordPress. I'm also going to be sending out a bunch of PDFs for you, some new PDF checklists that I've created. So I am ready to take questions, Joanna, so we can go ahead and take questions.
Okay. Jody had a question. For personal blogs not selling anything, do you need an enticement to get visitors to opt in?
If you have a personal blog and you're not selling anything, it depends what your goals are and where you plan to go with it. Not necessarily. It's only if you want to build up an email list and a following. So let's say you're a writer and you're planning on writing a book and you're planning on getting a publisher. I would definitely start an email list.
Okay, she says she's doing speaking and paid writing.
Here's another idea. If you have a blog and it's a personal blog, you can have an opt-in that's just to get email notifications of your blog posts. So that would be sort of a low-stress way to get started with an email marketing system where you don't actually have to create a whole download. It's just, hey, like these blog posts, want to be notified by email? So that's what I would do. And let's go to the next question. Let's take questions from what I covered today.
Okay. Sue Man was asking, do you register, whoops, the question, let me get it back. Do you register a company to sell digital products?
To register a company, I'm not sure, to sell digital if she could reword that, I want to make sure I understand her question.
Okay. And then Anna Marie was asking, do we have to sign up and pay to be able to use PDFs?
To be able to, you mean create them or to consume them, Anna Marie?
I think well, she says yes. The rest of her question was how can we learn how to create and use PDFs to upload a PDF tool on our site?
All right, great question. So to create a PDF, well, the way I know how to do it, there's probably other ways, is you use Microsoft Word. And Microsoft Word, then you might need an add-on to it, but in my Microsoft Word it says save as PDF and it creates a PDF version. You might have to buy Adobe because I've bought Adobe. So first look in your Microsoft Word and see if they have a save as PDF. But that's what I do. I create in Word, then save it as PDF, and then I upload it into my website and put it on my thank you page.
Okay, and then how would you protect it so no one can edit it?
I am not an expert at making PDFs, so I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how to do that. But I'm sure there's a way to do it so that, well, okay, let me just rewind there for a second. How do you protect it for no editing? Once you make a PDF, they're not going to be able to edit it. So you don't want to give away a Word doc. You want to give away a PDF because you can't edit a PDF. So I answered it.
Linda was asking, is there a free Adobe version?
Again, I am not an Adobe expert, so there might be. I just don't know.
Okay.
I specialize in teaching WordPress, not Microsoft Word. So
Okay.
sorry about that.
Glenda says, what happens when you already created an opt-in page but not the thank you page and free goodie? Does the opt-in page still collect the email info?
You should try it. You should go ahead and see what happens. It probably will, so if you've got an email system, and I can back up to slides if I need to, but if you've created an opt-in box but didn't bother with the thank you page, if you set it up right, it probably will still collect the names and emails, but somehow you have to deliver upon them getting that email, that what you've promised them.
Okay. Larry was asking, what priorities should I address first to put some of these ideas into use? I've had a site passive for several years but want to grow it.
So is he asking what's the order of importance? Is that what he's asking?
Yes, I think so. From what you covered today, what would be the most important things to address first?
I would get your website built first. I would probably second get your email marketing going, probably, but you know, some people get their products going first. So either one. Either one you can do. I think it's a little too specific to him, but I definitely have a website first. If you have a website, then you can have business cards, then you can tell people about your site even if it's not complete. And then depending upon, if you've already got your products ready, then get your product for sale. But if you don't have a product and you don't have an email goodie, I think I would focus on the email goodie next. But again, that would be pretty individual.
Okay. And then Anna Marie says, do you like Bluehost? I have such a hard time with the email format.
Bluehost is fine. I have Bluehost. I have lots of other hosting companies as well. I'm going to talk more in depth in a couple of weeks on the next webinar, so you might want to register for that, websitecreationclass.com/webinar. That'll be in 2 weeks. But there's pros and cons to all different hosting companies. But I have Bluehost and I use them probably the most.
Okay. Suman was asking, do you need to have a business entity for selling digital products?
Do you need to have a business entity for that? You know what? I'm not a lawyer accountant, so I'm not going to answer that question because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I don't think you do, but again, that would be, I would ask your CPA that question. But
Okay.
let me just answer it in another way. I can tell you what I've done. I started my online business before I had a business entity. So I did Schedule C when I got started, and I didn't have an official business entity. So that's what I did, but again, I can't give out legal advice.
Okay. Wendy says, I have a WordPress site and I am interested in finding out how to put the themes into the website. How do we find out the best ones out there?
Great question. I'm going to do themes and theme changing in WordPress in 2 weeks. So you want to get registered for that webinar. So you want to follow the link. I don't know, Joanna, if you were able to put that link into the chat.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And watch your email because we're going to be emailing out next week about that webinar. This is just kind of a sneak peek today. And I just want to mention the webinar that I'm doing in 2 weeks, and I've got 2 different times you can pick from. It is a free webinar. So I just want to mention Glenda had asked what the cost was for the webinar, and that's a free webinar.
Okay. And then Rosemary was asking, does your class include building your WordPress website and automated business systems like Entreport?
In my website creation workshop program, the one I've been running for 9 years, focuses on building your website in WordPress. So we do have some bonus modules, bonus trainings on integrating with a shopping cart, but it's not specifically for Entreport. It's sort of a general how you need to do it, but it's not an Entreport training.
Okay. Then we had a question, what is the best and easy setup for your WordPress using what web host? Would that be
Um,
something you cover in 2
yeah,
weeks?
I think I covered that in 2 weeks. I definitely cover it in my training, but I didn't cover that today. So I want to keep with big picture strategy on what I covered today. So sorry, I can't answer that
Okay.
right now.
Linda was asking, I have a website but never put opt-in box. I'm assuming, is there a plugin for opt-in box, or like big picture, how would you get the opt-in box on your website?
Okay, let me back up. Close your eyes so you don't get dizzy while I back up to the email marketing. So here's a screenshot from my blog. I've got an opt-in box on the side. I'm using Aweber, and Aweber has a plugin to integrate it into WordPress. Most of the big email marketing companies have a WordPress plugin that helps you connect the two together. So I think I answered her question.
Okay. Um, just reading through the questions here.
And let me just say if if you had a question, you've been waiting for it to get answered on, what I've covered today, you can always type it in a second time.
Okay, and then Sharon, when you were talking about selling from your site, she was asking if she should offer as an option to purchase her services online. Her call to action is to contact her for an initial consultation, so she was wondering if that's the right way to do it.
That's a great question. So let's see do I have, let me go back to here.
She
Yeah,
said normally she sells the service in person after the initial consultation.
I think if you do a consultation and you've got somebody on the phone or in person, I would close them on the phone or in person. I wouldn't say that's great, go to my website later. I would do your best to, and I hope you know what I mean by close them. Do people understand that term? You can just type yes or no. Some people don't know the term to close somebody. So yes, yeah, close them means to get them to buy. If you are in person or on the phone with a hot prospect and you're giving them a free consultation and you're saying, this has been great, would you like to go further with me? You get them closed right then and there. Don't say, well, then go later to my website. So what you can do is if you're on the phone, you can type in on your website, enter their details, and process them through. Only if they say, well, I got to think about it, then you could say that's fine. If they don't want to be closed in person, you could say that's fine. You have, go to my website and then you can sign up. But you'll do a lot better. You'll be more successful if you close them while the iron is hot. So, keeping people in a momentum. So, as I'm saying that, I just want to qualify what I'm saying. You're here because you've got an expertise and a skill that will help somebody else. And another person on this call has a different skill, and somebody else has another skill. So we all have our God-given gifts, or things that we're good at, that we can help people with. And people need help overcoming their problems, right? So what we do as, change makers, that's a term, is we help people solve their problems. That's how I see things. And even if your problem is, you want a fuzzy teddy bear and you buy the teddy bear and you sell teddy bears, right? So everybody has something they want or need. We're here to help them. Closing someone is not a bad thing. It's helping them get to their goals. So I just want to qualify that. Helping people get to their goals by closing them in person. You've now relieved them from the am I doing it or not doing it, right? So getting people going. I mean, I do the same thing in my website creation workshop training we have, and you'll learn about that in a couple of weeks. I have a method for helping people move through and get past their blocks. So anyway, that's what selling is all about, helping people get through their blocks. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Deborah says, I noticed that on your thank you pages you don't specifically say thank you. Is this a conscious choice? In other words, do you recommend not specifically saying thank you for psychological sales reasons?
Oh, no, there's no specific reason why I don't say thank you. I still call them a thank you page. If it feels appropriate to say thank you, there's no strategy there. I'll often say congratulations. Sometimes I'll say thank you. It's really whatever makes sense to you.
Okay. Suman was wondering, how do you cover the risk of payment plans for your services and products?
That might be a little outside the scope. Let's see if I can answer
Okay.
it in a sentence. How do you cover the risk of payment plans? Yeah, is that the question?
Yes, because you mentioned earlier that you use payment plans.
Um, yeah, I don't think I want to sort of go down that
Okay.
path, but I'll say one thing, assuming is there is always a risk when somebody pays with a payment plan, but you have to balance the risk of them defaulting versus making it affordable. So actually, I want to tell a little story. I was at an event and there was a guy there who had a program that I really wanted to buy. And he had previously, I'd never been able to afford it. But then this time when I saw him speak and promote his program, he had made a payment plan that broke it up into payments that I could afford. And I jumped on it. And that experience has always stuck in my mind because I know there's people who want to buy my program and they can't afford the full pay, and so that's why I break it up and make it more affordable. And did I just lose you, Joanna? Oh,
I'm here. I was
oh, okay.
muted. Sorry.
Okay.
June said she loved what you were sharing earlier. She says she's been blocked about the website thing for the past 2+ years, so that was helpful for her.
Oh, you're welcome, June.
And then Christine was just asking, why do many people who sell online use really long pages of content about their services and offerings?
Um, that's always been controversial, but sometimes in order to properly explain what it is the person is buying, you need a long page that explains everything. So for a $10 product, you probably don't need a long page, but if your product is a few $100s, a few $1,000s, then sometimes it just takes more time to explain what it is they're going to be buying. So that's all. But if you find a product you want, it's got a really long page, just scroll to the bottom. Look at the summary and then click to buy.
Okay. Anna Maria was wondering, what is the budget for a basic site? Is that something you would cover more in 2 weeks?
What is the budget for a basic site? Yeah, that's more, yeah, we didn't talk about budgeting today, so I don't
Okay.
think I want to get into that now.
Okay. And then Sharon says, what is your opinion about listing the price of your services on your website?
That is a good question, and some people list their pricing, some people don't. And we're talking about services, not products. Excuse me while I cough. We're talking about services. And it depends. If you're doing one-on-one consulting, I think maybe not listing the price for your service on your website, because you don't want bargain hunters, right, Sharon? What you want is someone who is interested in the service you provide, and I would share that on a phone call or a private consult with them. Now maybe you might, I don't know what you do, but you might have a page where they opt in, and maybe on the thank you page give them or in a PDF, here's a list of my services. It sort of depends. I mean, if I'm going to go to a spa and I'm going to get a massage, I kind of want to see what the price of the services are. So I think it really depends upon the business and what you're providing. You're a health coach. I don't know. I think I would probably leave them off and give that information when you're in your private consult with them.
Okay. I don't know if you really went into this today, but Wendy was asking, is there a way to get credit card information without having to charge the credit card? She said they've used Jot Forms, but it's not working out for them right now.
Get credit card information without processing it. That's kind of a detail you'd have to ask your shopping cart company. I believe it is possible, but it really depends upon what system you're using.
Okay. And then Linda said,
oh, go ahead. Her PayPal question.
Yes, Linda says, how do you feel about just using PayPal?
Let me go to, let me get to my shopping cart page, my diagram. Here it is. Here's my feeling about PayPal. And my feeling has changed over the years about PayPal. PayPal is not a real shopping cart. You're not going to be building a real customer database, so just know that. What I like about PayPal is it is a very low-cost way for people to get rolling with an online business. So I like that. I think that if you're just getting started, I think PayPal is a great way to go, because I'd rather, Linda, see you have your website up, your product created, connected to PayPal, where you've got your infrastructure in place, than waiting and waiting and waiting to do something more expensive or complicated. PayPal will take higher fees. So if people want to pay with a credit card and they're going through the PayPal process, PayPal's going to take out more fees than if you had your own merchant account. But when you're starting small, you might only be having a few transactions a month, but then as your business grows, you're going to have many transactions, and those fees will add up. So I like PayPal for people getting started. And I've got another comment. PayPal is also important for people who've been in business a long time. I've been in business a long time. I think I'm going on 11 or 12 years, and lots of people want to pay with PayPal. So I definitely think even if you're a seasoned online marketer and have an online business, everybody should have PayPal, and PayPal is free. So I would get a free PayPal account, connect it to your business checking account. And
Okay.
also, when you're getting started, make sure you get the free version. There is a paid version, but you probably don't need that right away. Get the free version. The free version that will accept credit cards.
Okay, and then Linda says, thanks, that is so helpful. And Glenda, while you're on this slide, she was asking, is the shopping cart order form the same thing as the shopping cart system?
Yes, so you'd get some kind of shopping cart system, and it might be PayPal where they click and they go to PayPal and they enter their credit card, their money information. So if you've got a shopping cart system, the shopping cart system would give you an order form link, or PayPal, you would click and they'd get to a PayPal page. So yes, that's part of your shopping cart system.
Okay. Christine put in a question. She was working for a company for several years, and she could always call on someone else to do web skills, and she's not working for them anymore, so she wants to get up to date. So she's asking if your class would be helpful for that, and if so, how much work is involved. So I don't know if that would be something more for the webinar in 2 weeks.
Read the beginning of that question one more time.
Okay. She worked for a company for 18 years, and she could always call on someone else with, if she needed a web skill person.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't work for them anymore, so she needs to get up to date.
Okay. So in 2 weeks when I deep dive into the website part, this call today was the big picture, but in 2 weeks I'm going to get into creating a website, and I'll be talking about my training, and I'll also be teaching at the same time, and so that would be a great call for you to come to. And we have 2 times that you can come.
Okay, and Maria was asking if you would comment on like having a bilingual site. Is that something you would cover in the webinar in 2 weeks?
I can address that right now because it's not in my material for next week, but you can create a bilingual site. There's lots of different ways to create a bilingual site. WordPress has different plugins that you can use to translate your site bilingually, so that is something that many people have done with WordPress. So I'm not going to go into it, but there are plugins you can use to make your site bilingual.
Okay. I think that's pretty much
All right.
all of the questions about what you covered today.
Okay. And the way this system works, AFIA, is that everybody is muted. It's just the way the GoToWebinar system works. So I just want to fast forward to my last slide. If anybody else has any other questions, I can answer them now. Otherwise, watch your email. Next week, I'm going to be sending out a new checklist that I've put together and a video that goes with it. And we're leading up to getting people registered for my fall website creation workshop program. I'll be talking about that on the webinar in 2 weeks, and also doing live demos of building a WordPress site. So any last calls for questions for today? And the webinar in 2 weeks from now is free. So just watch your email for that. But looks like I think we're done.
Yes, I think we're good. Anna Maria says thank you very much for the simple approach. You're great. Victoria says thank you, Christina. She'll see you Saturday at WordCamp, I guess.
Oh, cool.
So lots of people said thanks.
Okay, and I will be, in 2 weeks, you'll get more details about my 8-week training program, and you'll get emails about that as well. So I'm glad that you are here for the simple truth of building an online business. I hope this big picture overview has helped you. I look forward to seeing you on my next webinar. Just watch your emails, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.